Hello, Jamie from Inky and Scrappy, sharing with you today another card process video. I'm going to share the coloring today. I don't always share the coloring, but this one, and I actually don't use this particular colored image on today's card. But I wanted to show you how I did the image for today's card. So using the Grumpy Bear image from Ink Road Stamps, I had taken a fine liner in an alcohol-friendly ink and drew on my ink splats because I had this idea that this bear is like sized perfectly for the Easel and Canvas dies from Lawn Fawn, and so I wanted to make him an artist bear, a grumpy artist bear, but an artist bear. And so of course he needed paint splatter. I mean, you know, it's me. I covered in whatever it is that I'm making, so he needed to be too. So I took my medium shade and outlined all of those ink splats that I had drawn on him, and then came in with my darker shade and kind of added some more contrast to the areas that I felt were going to be the darkest. And then I came in with my lightest. So my blues that I used were B37, B34, and my B26 is my midtone and B34 is my lightest shade. And I end up going over it with the lightest shade twice just to even out that color and blend them a little bit better. They were the closest blues that I had to Grumpy Bear. So I did use my Copics for this one. And I have to say, I like the brush tip for larger images. Now for the ink splatters, I came in with my Ohuhus because those bullet nibs are the bomb when it comes to coloring smaller images. I did do 2 ink blends here. You could definitely just do a 1 ink blend, but I colored in the outside first with the darker ink, and then I came in with the lighter shade and colored the whole thing again. If you're only using one color, color your whole area in and then let it dry and come back in afterwards and then just outline it, and that'll give you that variation in color. And going over your ink twice sometimes gives you a better blend than if you just go over it once. So if you're having trouble blending your inks, do 2 layers, sometimes even 3 if my colors are so far off. It seems to work or give you a smoother blend. So life has been busy. We're still picking rocks. Hopefully we will finish this week. I am ready to be done. It's the sigh of a long planting season. A late planting season. We should be done already. But it's in the ground, so that's good. Stuff's popping up in rows. That's how it's supposed to be, right? So I will finish up Grumpy Bear here. I do end up doing some brown for his eyes, and then I come in with a colorless blender because I didn't want to find the other shade of brown that was lighter. And then it just lightens up that spot to give you a reflection. And then I came in with a black jelly roll pen there to add some black glaze to his eyes. It really makes them pop. And then once that's dry, I come in with a white gel pen and just put some white on his eyeballs. And then I will take that to my scan and cut it out. I am using some papers from, these were Doodle Bug papers. So this one was the Schoolhouse or the School Back to School collection. I wanted something that was colorful, so it had a rainbow to it, but was simple. That didn't take away from my actual scene on my card. And so I thought that rainbow notebook paper looked perfect for this one. And then I end up using the top part of that as my ground, and it works perfectly. So 1 sheet of paper and you get all the look you needed for the card. So I do like how that background turned out. And if you watched my last video, you will know that I did all of my ink blending for all of my parts and pieces for the Lawn Fawn's easel and canvas and art supplies die sets. So if you're wondering how I did those, that is in my last video. Don't ask me what that one was called. I don't remember at the moment. But it would have been the June 2nd or 3rd upload of 2022. So I cut a slit in between Grumpy's arm there so his paintbrush could sit. And then I'm just working on my placement on my images here. I wanted to add the ink splats to the ground because obviously if he's covered in paint, the ground will be too, right? Am I the only one that's that messy when I paint? Okay, it won't surprise me. So I'm cutting off my pieces there that hang over, and I will save those because you can add those to other cards on the thingies. And that one, I was kind of, after I put it on there, I was like, oh, I should have like made it so it looked like it was on the easel dripping down, but you know, hindsight is 2020, right? So I'm going to pop up my Grumpy here. And then use a small piece there for my brush. And that just helps that brush stay standing up so it doesn't get bent. And I don't actually push my brush down yet because I know that I'm going to put this one, my canvas, on first, and then the brush will probably sit on top of it. And so I did a very simple, just hand-drawn rainbow. I just went in rainbow order with a few of the colors. I didn't need this to be perfect. It was supposed to be drawn by Grumpy, so that was what I was going for. And then because it's Grumpy, my son couldn't be a smiley face. It had to be a grumpy or a sad face. So I was just making sure that, you know, I could make that sad face sun peeking out over the rainbow there. And the sentiment on this one, the nailed it, comes from Taylored Expressions. I will post it below on the actual, what the stamp name is. I know it's their scrap one. They're Grumplings. I just can't remember which set it is off the top of my head. And of course, I stamped it crooked. Not on purpose, but I guess it works. Because, yep, nailed it. I didn't notice that it had wiggled until after I stamped. And I was like, oh, I guess we're going with it. So I'm just going to pop this on a green card base. That green goes with the green that's on the bear and on the card. And so it helps those green colors pop. And then I'm using the whatever from the actual stamp set from Ink Road Stamps. So nailed it. Whatever. We all have days like that, right? And yes, I didn't like precondition my stamp, so I did line it up fairly perfect there. So, you know, old school before the Misty came along. And then because I am me, I glossy accented all of the paint parts. So all of his paint splats. I think I even did his nose. Yes, I even did his nose to give him a glossy little bear heart nose. And then all of the other splatters. And that was all of, I think that was all the, I didn't add anything else for accents. I kept this one fairly simple for me. But I do love how it turned out. And yes, Grumpy will be making another appearance, I am sure, in my scrapping endeavors. I did decide that my cloud needed a little bit more color because it wasn't very even. I think it looked splotchy to me, so I just added another layer of ink over the top. And there is my finished card. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a good day. Thank you everyone for subscribing, liking, commenting. I love to read them all. Thank you so much. Bye.